I really wish like so badly that I could answer every message I get like this from a college kid that wants to start creating content, and they ask a lot of the same questions. So I thought I would take Elliot's question today, asking for advice, and I very rarely can, sit down and really like go one-on-one. So I figured maybe this video could be a nice little like compilation video where anytime college kid asks me these questions, I can send them a link to this video. The first question: how do you get started in content creation? This is a funny part of something you see in the world all the time today, where like most people lack common sense right now. And I'm not saying this to Elliot, but I get this question a lot. How do I start content creation? That would be like asking, how do I start walking? What do you mean? Like you just walk. Like, I want to become a content creator, therefore you have to create content, right? Like no one is showing up at your door and saying, hey, I'm going to hire you to be a content creator for our company. We've done that actually quite a few times over the last couple of years, and only done it with people that have been creating content on their own for the last year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I would never bring a content creator onto a team if they're not already creating content. The first thing you need to do is to start creating content. Like if you want to be a content creator, you just have to do it. It's not any more difficult than that. Like a lot of people get tied up because they're not sure where to start, and it can be overwhelming, but everybody's terrible when they start. You could set up I'm assuming you have an iPhone. If you're a college kid, you have an iPhone. I'm going to link 2 videos on how to set up cameras that 7 years it took me to understand how to set up cameras. I watched 2 YouTube videos last week about ISO, aperture, shutter speed, all that shit that I literally could not get a grasp on it until I watched 2 videos last week that now help me understand how to set up a camera. You're going to watch those 2 videos, and you're going to be able to use those same settings on your iPhone camera, and your shot will be similar to the shot I have. You obviously need a room with a little bit of space, maybe some good lighting. You could shoot anything you want with an iPhone camera because that shit is going to be just as good as a DSLR camera within the next year, 2 years, 3 years. And most of them already are as good as that. So how do you start? You start by starting. And on that, I know that's very cliche general advice. You have to understand yourself. Like, how do you want to create content? How do you feel most comfortable? Do you like being on video? Do you like podcasting? Do you like writing? Now, I will say video is by far and away the most popular type of content to make right now. Video is by far and away the easiest way to grow and build a following and get done whatever your goal is to get done via content creation. So I would highly suggest video if you are comfortable doing that. I started out blogging. This is when blogging was popular. That was the first type of content I ever made, was blogging. I realized really quickly, I fucking hate writing. I'm not good at it. I don't like doing it. So I'm going to make videos. And away we went. That was probably back in 2013, 2014, whatever. And that is how I chose how I wanted to present myself. I said, this is the way I'm most comfortable. Therefore, I'm going to make videos. And at the time, I just looked around. I said, where can I post videos? It was a very innocent, raw mindset. And boom, YouTube happened to be the place that I could post videos on. Now there's a million different platforms. There is TikTok, there is YouTube, there is every single platform you could post videos on, obviously, and grow that way. So you need to choose what way you want to express yourself. Video, podcast, or audio. I would highly suggest doing video. That leads into the next topic or question, which I'm going to skip around a little bit. What advice do you have for someone trying to find their niche? Now, this question scares me a little bit, because if you don't know what you want to make content out of, then why are you starting to make content? This question scares me because it says to me, you're starting content creation for some reason other than, I love this thing. I'm passionate about this topic or this subject, which is not a good way to start. If you want to start content creation because you want to gain a following, you want to make money, all that kind of stuff, you will never make it if your intent when starting was that stuff. You have to be passionate about something. So this relates more to like a life question. You need to experiment more. You need to figure out what it is that you like talking about, what it is that you like researching, what it is that you actually enjoy doing in your everyday life. Like the reason I started making fantasy football content was because me and my friends played in an intense league in high school for like 5 years before I started making content. I got obsessed with it. Therefore, I started making content about it. Now that I make content about like branding, marketing, literally answering these questions came off the backbone of unsuccessfully trying to run a business for fucking eight years or so, right? Making social media, falling in love with branding and marketing. Like, I'm not doing this shit because I think it's going to make me money. I'm doing it because I fucking love talking about this stuff, right? So the content you make should be a reflection of the stuff that you love. And if you don't know what you love, honestly, you probably shouldn't be making content. You could do it for like practice in terms of the technical stuff and whatnot. But if you don't know what you want to talk about, then to be honest with you, you need to step back. You need to live life for another couple of years probably and figure out what it is that you feel like is calling your name. Once you have figured that out, then you start. Your question number 2 was, what were the biggest challenges you faced starting out and how did you overcome them? So the biggest challenges I think most people face when starting out, they have fake challenges, which is the like, how do I start? What camera do I use? The lighting. Oh, they have the fake physical challenges that are literally easily solvable within a 1 day of work. You try to set up like a little studio with your phone, with a little lamp in front of you, done. You could be done with that in 3 hours. So that's where a lot of people don't want to start because they think they don't have all the physical stuff to start with, which is total bullshit, obviously. Where it's really, really hard in the beginning is the mental part, is the judgment from outside people or you being nervous about the judgment from outside people. So the first year, I think, of content creation, the first 2 years maybe, are way more difficult mentally than they are physically because it's new to you, probably being vulnerable and putting yourself out there for the entire world. That was the hardest thing for me by far. How do you overcome it? There's no like secret to it. It's really fucking hard for everybody. At this point, I'm so comfortable in front of the camera and I'm so comfortable doing content. I'm like, why doesn't everybody make content? How is everybody not comfortable in front of a camera? Just like sit down, fucking start yapping. And if you love something, it should come off freely. You know, that's how I feel. But this is obviously on the back of 8 years making videos. So what you need to know is like, how do you overcome that fear of judgment? Is just to know that everybody has to go through it. And like the people in your life that make fun of you and the people in your life that you are worried about, one, they don't give a fuck. But two, like those people, if they continually fucking harass you and make fun of you for it, are losers, dude. They're insecure. They're really, 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 really insecure. Anybody who goes out of their way to make fun of someone for trying something or going after something that they're passionate about, it's literally just a reflection of that person. It's that person being insecure, being like, fuck, I don't like this other person going out of their comfort zone, chasing something, because then it reminds me that I'm being complacent and I'm actually a loser. So rather than actually trying to go out of my comfort zone, I'm going to be a coward and try to bring them back down to earth. I'm going to be a coward and I'm going to try to make them feel bad to the point that they don't want to do it anymore. So the biggest challenge by far and away was the mental state of worrying about what other people would think about me. And I genuinely think that is the toughest thing for every single creator when they're starting out, because you're going to suck when you start and you're going to be really, 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 really nervous when you put out your first video, you put out your first videos. If you don't feel comfortable sharing, you don't have to. If you don't feel comfortable sharing with your friends, your family, whatever, I didn't when I started. When I started blogging, even my first few videos, I don't even think anyone knew I made them. I just posted them on YouTube and let them do their thing, all right? That's how nervous I was for the outside world to see that I was doing it. So it is okay if that's how you feel. That's how every content creator pretty much starts out. It sucks, but you got to go through it. And realistically, it's silly as fuck. It's silly as fuck. Thinking back on it, it's not crazy. Like, think about yourself 5 years from now being like, damn, I just made content for the last 5 years. You're going to be so comfortable. All right. So think of yourself successful in 5 years. The people that are like making you worry about making content now will be literally fucking flies on another wall by then. You won't think about them. You won't care about them. Like, fuck them. You know what I mean? What are some things that an early content creator should try to avoid? I think it kind of goes back to the niche thing where you are forcing something. If you don't love what you're doing, if you don't love what you're talking about, if you don't love the topic that you're getting into, you will never last. You will burn out very, very, very quickly. Like if you're not spending your free time already fucking researching the thing that you love and want to talk about, you're not going to want to do it for the long run. So making sure that you talk about things that you know about, that you're passionate about, will go the long way for you. And I feel like I could sit here all day and talk about things that you should avoid. Another one that I would probably put at the top of the list, avoid trying to make money. Literally don't even think about trying to make money until like 2-3 years down the line. Genuinely. And you might start making money before then, but I'm saying like you should never be creating, especially from the start, with the idea of making money. I know so many people that want to start for a purpose of making money, and I'm like, fam, that is such a toxic place to put yourself in. And then you'll continue to chase things that are not true to you. You'll continue to make content that you don't even like. If you're getting into the content game, do it because you really want to. Don't feel like you have to. Not everybody has to just because you're on TikTok and Instagram fucking all day long. You don't have to make content. If you really want to, if you love something, make content. You ain't going to make money from it. The very top percentile of people make money from it, but the people that really love doing it are typically the ones that do end up converting into making money. So that is a myth that you could really make money overnight. It's going to take years for you to build something worthwhile and build something valuable enough that people want to pay you real money for. I would literally, and many people disagree with me, but if we're talking about like things to avoid early on, I would literally not take on a sponsorship deal. I would not try to sell a product. I would not do any affiliate marketing. I would do nothing but give value to the audience, teach them things, inform them, entertain them, motivate them, whatever. Stick to giving value for 2 straight years. 2 years unencumbered. Don't try to sell them shit. Don't try to spam them with shit. Don't do anything besides give them value and be extremely loyal to them. They're not loyal to you unless you're loyal to them. All right. So that would be my number 1 piece of advice. Next question. How do you come up with content ideas and maintain, promote creativity throughout the process? So, I mean, most of the content ideas come from experimenting. Like there's usually ones that I just want to make. Some are inspired by videos within my industry. Some are inspired by videos within other industries. Some are just inspired by my life. I have found that the best videos I make, the most creative videos that I make, the ones that I feel open up the most are the ones that are inspired by my real life. Like take a weekend away from content creation and I come back with a million different ideas. I think there are so many resources that you can look at to get ideas for videos. I think the best ones always come out internally. So what I would suggest is sit down and write out, you have your niche, you have your topic, whatever it is. I would sit down when you're starting out, before you even make a piece of content, write down 30 video topics that start with how to this within that niche, right? For fantasy football, if I was starting tomorrow, I'd say like how to draft a league winning team if you faded running backs, how to properly draft in a 3 wide receiver team, how to properly draft in a super flex league. You know, it's not so much the topic. You don't have to make videos about those topics, but it gets you in the mindset of giving value. It gets you in the mindset of like, I'm doing this for other people. And it also really quickly niches down in the things that you're an expert about or the things that you think you could teach people about. So like immediately you start to think, okay, I know about this thing. And then you'll see a common thread. Like you write down 30 of these things and you'll be like, wow, 17 of these feel like the thing that I'm best at. And you can start going down that path. So you don't have to make videos about that. But I think that's a way that you could start to get into your creative mold about what you know. And then go research other YouTube channels within your niche, within that industry, ones that have been really successful. You can go to any channel and filter it by like most popular, oldest, newest, whatever, and see what works the best. And you can, listen, it's YouTube, it's the internet. People take ideas from other people, put your own spin on it, but it's really easy to find creative ideas out there from other people. Or take the morning, you know, when you wake up, like don't go on the internet because then you're going to start getting all these ideas from other people. Take a few hours to yourself. Like you wake up at 8 o'clock, don't even check your phone until 11 or 12 o'clock. And through that 4-hour window, go do something outside or just sit down and be like, this is what I want to talk about. You know what I mean? Like write down ideas. Doesn't matter if they've been done by other people and they've been proven to be successful or not. Just do shit that you want to do. How do you begin the process of monetizing your content and what strategies do you find most effective for generating income? Again, I would so strongly recommend you get the thought of making money and monetizing out of your head. Like if you're starting out, one, you don't deserve to make money from an audience. You're not good enough to make money from an audience, and you have no fucking idea how to do it. The way I made money first, I made videos for 2 to 3 years for free, absolutely didn't ask for anything. And then I made what is everyone in the fantasy football industry now has a draft guide, which helps you prep for your upcoming fantasy football draft. I made that very, very long time ago. No one else was really making it at the time. I didn't do it to sell the product. I was like, man, I'm putting out so much information. I feel like it would be helpful to people if I organized all of it into one place and then like gave it to them that way. I found that I spent so many hours doing it. The first magazine I made might have been like 100 pages. I like hand designed everything on Canva by itself. And it took me so fucking long to make, to the point where I was like, all right, you know what? I charge $5 for this. I might have spent 300 hours making it. I mean, the return on it might have been like a fucking 4 cents per hour that I worked on it. But my first monetization product was genuinely like me feeling like I needed to make it. So monetizing should feel not like you can't wait to make money, but it should feel like I am genuinely enhancing the viewers or the audience's life by making this product. And because I'm spending a lot of time and energy and possibly resources and investing money into making the product, that is why I charge. I don't charge because I'm being greedy and I want to make money and all that shit. So if you're making your own product, it should come from a place of like, what does my audience actually need? And what do I want to make? Because again, just like content, you still want to enjoy the product that you're making. This is like an overarching theme for all this. If you are making a product, pitching a service, or reading a sponsored ad, you should be fucking proud of everything that you promote. If you make a product, you better be proud of it before you set it live. If you are doing an ad read for a company, you better really like that product and be proud to be working with that company. If you are not, the audience will sniff that shit out in a second. You are putting your name into a bad reputation, so don't do that shit. So when it comes to monetizing, stick off the monetization. It's like a drug. Stick off the monetization. Stick off the drugs for at least 2 years. Then you could start doing sponsored ads or whatever. Then you could start doing affiliate marketing, which works in some industries better than others. That is how we've done it. But again, like I think you should come back and ask this question in 2 years. I've heard you talk about focusing on one platform. Let's go. There we go. Now we're getting into the fucking gritty. How do you decide what platform to start out on? So this has become a little bit more complex over the years because the creator economy has gotten pretty sharp. It's pretty competitive now. So people stay on top of like where you're growing, where you should be posting content. When I started, again, it was a very pure like, I want to make videos. Where can I post videos? That is why I chose YouTube. Nothing other than that. Now, in order to stay on top of like the ever evolving creator economy and social platforms and media and branding, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of Gary Vee. I listen to a lot of Alex Hormozy. I listen to like social media marketing by Michael Stelzner. I listen to Pat Flynn. I listen to a lot of podcasts in order to continue to understand the market, continue to understand where to be posting, what to be posting, things like that. I suggest you do a bunch of research. When you're starting off, here's the thing. You're going to have zero audience for a very long time. So it doesn't actually really matter where you're posting your stuff, because whether you're doing it on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram Shorts or Instagram Reels, no one's going to watch your shit for 6 months anyways. So it doesn't actually matter when starting out. What I would look for is, what are the platforms that you're consuming all the time? What are the platforms that you're sending links to your friends about? What are the platforms that you find yourself spending a lot of time on? That's usually a good starting point. I would also look into the industry or niche that you are looking to get started with in content and see if there are creators on that platform. Like for instance, fantasy football, so saturated on YouTube, so saturated via podcasts, but not a ton of fantasy football creators on TikTok. That is where I would start. So you want to go to a platform that's either new or has a ton of eyeballs without a lot of creators on it yet, or not a lot of like it could be not new. It could be YouTube, but it could be a platform like YouTube, but you want to look for the niche and see if there are a lot of creators on there doing it. So if you go to YouTube and try to do fantasy football, it's going to be impossible to grow. It's going to be very, very hard to grow on that just as a general fantasy football channel. If you went to YouTube and went to a niche that was like extremely underserved, something that was like really new, you can grow on there because there's not a lot of creators doing it. So look for the platform with eyeballs, look for the platform that doesn't have a lot of creators on it, and look for the platform that you, again, like and would be proud to post content on. Would be, don't start posting on platforms because, you read a headline that maybe this is like a good one to start posting on. Do you fucking send your friend links to this platform? Do you use it often? Do you think it's something that other people use often? Ask yourself that. Again, goes back to common sense. People put so much on a pedestal these days. They read headlines or like, I should do this, you should do that. I heard this, so that means it's right. It's like, no, just fucking think about your real life for a second. Like, take a step back, take a deep breath, settle down, and just fucking live. Be a human being and be like, this feels right. To piggyback on the previous question, do you think it's okay to post the same short form content across multiple platforms or only stick to one in the beginning? I think it's fine. You said TikTok, IG Reels, YouTube Shorts. I think that's fine if you make a piece of content that fits pixel-wise, vertically. What I will say is like, all right, we do the NFL trivia stuff on our TikTok, right? Very, very popular on TikTok. Every one of those videos, though, is typically from like 3 to 8 minutes long, meaning it can't go on IG Reels. It can't go on YouTube Shorts. I fucking wish it could. It would probably do numbers on those things, but IG Reels can only be 90 seconds long. YouTube Shorts can only be 60 seconds long. So they all have to fit under the 60-second category in order to go across all 3 platforms. I don't mind putting these on other ones. Like I know I said to focus on one platform. What I meant by that and why I think that advice is so helpful is less like from a technical logistical standpoint and more from a peace of mind standpoint. Because what I find is new creators will make one piece of content, and then instead of like focusing 100% on making the best piece of content they can make, they spend 68% of their energy making the best content they can make, and then 32% of the energy thinking about, how do I repurpose this? How do I package it here versus here? Where it's like, if you just spend all your energy and have peace of mind, not thinking about like, fuck, okay, I posted on YouTube. How do I transfer this to Shorts? How do I transfer this to TikTok? That's a lot of like mental energy that you're using that does not give you peace of mind. And it becomes really fucking overwhelming for a lot of creators. So I would not go down that path unless you feel like you're capable of doing it, unless you feel like you have the time, unless you feel like you have the wherewithal. So like those pieces of content don't really change from TikTok to IG Reels to YouTube Shorts. My point was more so like, once you post on one of them, you're taking away mental energy, mental capacity, thinking about, downloading it without the watermark, posting it here, like doing that stuff. If you feel like you're good to do that, if you feel like it doesn't really take that much mental capacity, I've got no problem with it. I just feel like to start creating, when you are a beginner creator, the more focused you can be on just making great content, like one piece of great content at a time, the more you'll learn quickly and the better off the content will be. What software and hardware do you think is necessary for creators that are just starting out? So I'll try to do this as quickly as possible. We talked about hardware a little bit. I genuinely think you should watch the 2 camera videos that I linked down below. You can use your iPhone camera. I don't think you need to buy a new camera. There are a ton of different like tripods that have camera attachments on the top of them. Again, just like a quick Amazon search and that would be really easy to find for you. Now, lighting does make a difference for sure. Most of y'all can find a space in your house that has something behind you, and then you could put a light in front of you. What I would suggest is like one light in front of you that kind of lightens up your face a little bit, and then something in the background that kind of like gives a little bit of texture, gives a little bit of feel behind you. That's not like overly bright or overly saturated. That, I think, will be fine for your immediate videos. Now, in terms of microphones, there's a few different ways that you can go about this. It really depends on how much you're looking to invest into a microphone or into an audio. I would say that the biggest investment you should probably make is into the audio, because people don't want to listen to shitty audio. So there's a few different types of microphones. There is the USB mic, which literally has a USB cord that you could just plug right into your computer. They are easier to work with. They are budget friendly, but they are less quality. They are lower quality. Then there's dynamic mics, which take this XLR cable. They need to go into an audio interface, which needs to be plugged into your computer. So those are more expensive. They are much higher quality, but you probably don't need to go out and buy this right away. I would do a little bit of research on USB. Put in like USB podcast microphones. I think Rode probably has a good USB microphone that you can get for like $100 maybe. In terms of software, like really you just need to edit. And I used iMovie on my Mac, which is completely free I still use it to this fucking day. I like to use CapCut a lot now, and CapCut has a good desktop version that you can use for free. They do have a pro version that has some other amenities to it, but for editing, either iMovie or CapCut should be fine for you. So unless I'm not thinking of something, I genuinely think all you need is editing software on top of the hardware that you bought. Now, you have a couple other questions on the sheet, but they are way more like specific and niche related. So they're not general questions that I get all the time. So we're going to cut the video there. I hope that was helpful to the newer creators. I get nervous making videos like this just because I feel like they come off so buzzwordy. And it's like, oh, how do I start content creation? Just start. It's like, I hate that fucking answer, but I hope layered on with more context for answers for the other questions help you move forward a little bit. And if you're watching this because maybe I sent you the link because you sent me a similar message, then I hope it helped you out there as well. If it did and you think it'll help someone else, please share the video. I think that's probably the best way that we can grow here. Hit the button that looks like this. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm trying to help out any new creators that I can. I love y'all, and I'm out.